Continuing here in Unit 4, today we're going to be working on Section 5.1, which is writing in slope-intercept form. All right, so let's go back, review real quick here. Slope-intercept form, remember, is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Okay? Now, a couple things we're going to need to know. Number one, the slope, given a graph, we could count it. Rise over run. Remember, slope is rise over run. If we're given ordered pairs, we're going to have to use our formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, so we're going to have to use some of that today as we write our equations in slope-intercept form. All right, so let's start off with how do we write an equation in slope-intercept form given a point and a slope. All right, so here we go. What you're going to do is you're going to plug the point and the slope into the equation. The x value from the point into the x of the equation. The y value from the point into the y of the equation. The slope in for the m, and then we're going to solve it for b. Then once we do that, we're going to write our final equation. We're going to plug the slope into the final equation, and we're going to plug in the b that we just solved for in step 1. All right, so let's give it a shot. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug all the pieces in. So this is my x, this is my y, this is my m. And remember, our equation is y equals mx plus b. So we're going to plug 6 in for y. We're going to plug the m in. We're going to plug the x in plus b. So now we do some math here to solve it for b. We want to get b by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. So 6 is equal to negative times a negative is a positive. 3/4 times 8 is going to give us a 6. Okay. Now, if you need to, remember to use your calculator. You can go 3 fraction 4 times 8 equals, and it will give you the value of 6. Then at this point, we're going to minus 6 from both sides, and we end up with b equals 0. Now, we're going to write our final equation. So we're going to take our slope and our b and write them in to our final equation. So my final answer would be y equals negative 3/4 x plus 0, but we do not need to write this because it's a 0. So my final answer is y equals negative 3/4 x. And that would be our final equation in slope-intercept form that passes through that point, negative 8/6, and has a slope of negative 3/4. All right, let's try another one. So we're going to start in same thing. Here's my x, here's my y, here's my slope. So remember, y equals mx plus b. So it starts off with a y, so negative 2 equals my slope, 1/3, times the x, 3, plus b. Remember, we want to get b by itself. So I'm going to multiply first. So I'm going to go negative 2. 1/3 of 3 is 1. I'm going to take that. I'm going to minus the 1 from both sides. So I get negative 3 equals b. So now I'm going to take the b and the slope and write them in. So y equals 1/3 x minus 3. And that is my final equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the point 3, negative 2, and has a slope of 1/3. All right, let's try one more here. So we're going to start off. We have x, y. Here's my slope. So remember, it's y equals mx plus b. We're going to take the y, plug it in. So 4 equals negative 3, which is my slope, times my x, negative 5, add b. I'm going to multiply. So I get 4 equals 15 plus b. I'm going to minus the 15 from both sides. And I get negative 11 equals b. So now I'm going to take the b and the m, and I'm going to plug in for my answer. Y equals negative 3x minus 11. And there is our final answer in slope-intercept form. All right, so now let's move on. What do we do if I want to write the equation in slope-intercept form and I'm given 2 points? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the slope using our formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, this is very, very important that you do this correct because this is step 1 of the process. So if you mess up the slope, everything thereafter is going to be messed up. So you have to make sure you're plugging in the y minus y over the x minus x. Okay? Once you get the slope, everything else is the same as what we've been doing. Okay? So here we go. So I have an equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. So again, I'm going to help you. We're going to circle our y's and we're going to underline our x's just to help us make sure we get the right slope. So I'm going to start off. Let's go negative 12 minus negative 3. So y minus y, since I started with the negative 12, I'm going to use the negative 7. So now negative 12 plus 3 would get me negative 9. Negative 7 plus 5 would get me negative 2. Negative divided by a negative is 9 halves. Okay. So now we're going to take that and one of our points. It does not matter which one. We'll just call it, we'll use this first one here. So I'm going to plug that in. So I'm going to go negative 3 equals 9 halves times negative 5 plus b. So that's going to get us negative 3 equals negative 45 over 2 plus b. Now I add 45 over 2. And that's going to get us positive 39 over 2 for b. So now I come back and now I'm writing my equation. So y equals 9 halves x plus 39 halves. And there is our equation in slope-intercept form passing through those 2 points. Okay, let's try another one. So again, we're going to start off with, we have our y's, we have our x's. So the first thing I have to do is find my slope. So I'm going to go negative 2 minus negative 4. I started with negative 2, so I'm going to go 4 minus 2. So negative 2 plus 4 gets me 2. 4 minus 2 gets me 2. Simplify that to a 1. So now I plug that in, and I'm going to go y equals. First, we got to pick a point. So here's our x, here's our y. So we're going to go negative 4 equals 1 times 2 plus b. So now we're going to distribute that or multiply that, and that's 1 times 2, which is 2, plus b. I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. So that gives me a b value of negative 6. So I have my slope and my b, so my final answer, y equals 1x minus 6. But remember, we don't need to write the 1. So I'm going to take that off. So y equals x minus 6. All right, let's try this last one here. So we're going to start off. Here's my y's. Here's my x's. So I'm going to start off with my slope. So I'm going to start in and I'm going to go 1.6 minus negative 0.7 over negative 3.4 minus 1.2. So plus a positive. So that's going to get us 2.3 over negative 4.6. And if we look at that, 2.3 is half of 4.6. So my slope would be 1/2. Now we take that and one of our points, I don't care which one, I'll just do this one, x and y. So I'm going to go 1.6 equals negative 1/2 times negative 3.4 plus b. So now I multiply. So negative times a negative is a positive. 3.4 times a half is going to give me 1.7. I'm going to minus the 1.7. That's going to get me 0.1 equals b. So now we write our final answer. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 0.1. And that is actually going to be a negative 0.1. And that is how we do slope-intercept given a point and a slope or given 2 points.